Chicago. Her research is focused on endocrinology and metabolic activities. She received a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Albany State University in 2019. She currently works under the direction of Dr. Brian T. Lady, studying the adipose-specific effects of free fatty acid receptors 2 and its interaction with short-chain fatty acids in mouse models to complete the characterization of the receptor and establish its potential as a drug target for diabetes and other metabolic diseases. So she has also won multiple awards for her research presentation to both scientific and non-scientific audiences. She spends her free time training to be a realist, brewing kombucha, writing opinion pieces for our websites, and hanging out with her siblings and friends. So welcome, Chioma. Our second panelist for this session is Oluwa Toyosi Adaramodu. So she also goes by Lisa, and she is a second-year biologist PhD student at the University of Pennsylvania. She completed her undergraduate degree at Federal University Ekiti, and then a master's in developmental biology at Chinese Academy of Science, Beijing. She is a leadership associate with International Youth Leadership Conference, IYLC, a leadership ambassador at Impact. Sorry, am I still audible? Okay. A leadership ambassador at Impact Your World Leadership Initiative and the co-founder of Afro in Bio. She works on plant cells using single-cell technology. Welcome, Adaramodu. And our third panelist is Richard Adeleke, who is a PhD candidate in immunology and infectious diseases at Cornell University at the United States of America. He obtained his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, DVM, from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and he works at Professor Hector's lab. His current research centers around vaccine development for viruses with pandemic potential, specifically the SARS-CoV-1 and MERS-CoV, that's the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. Richard also studies viral host interactions and immune responses to vaccination. Richard wants to make a significant impact in science and inspire people who share similar background with him. And outside the lab, he reads stories about virus history and love meeting new people from diverse backgrounds. So welcome, Richard. That's the introduction to our panelists for today. And from here, Kennedy will take the moderation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Ope. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. It's such an amazing thing to be here today. And I believe that by the end of this session, we would have addressed most of the things we need to address, the misconceptions about studying a basic science course or working in a research environment, and also learn about the opportunities that are available, and also talk about networking and how we can work together in order to address this misconception, and also talk about science and science communication. So we'll be focusing on our panelists, and they'll be answering some of the questions that we have for them. And while they'll be answering these questions, if you have any question that you also want to ask the panelists, you can note them down or just put them down in the comment section, and someone will address it. And then after the panel discussion, we will definitely get to it. And so to our panelists, thank you once again for being here. And it's so amazing for you to share your journey with us, and we do not take it for granted. So to the first question that we have for you today, we just want to know what aspect of your career or passions actually inspired you in your personal journeys between your institution and even getting your degrees from undergrad and now getting an advanced degree and doing research. For example, you could tell us what changed for you when you first encountered the course you studied as an undergrad, and how this career path helped your transition. And in addition to that, you can also talk about what you advise to undergraduates in Nigeria currently who are hoping to transition into research. And I think I will start with Chioma.
Thank you so much, Kende. I think for me, particularly what got me interested in a career in biomedical research, or in pursuing biomedical research academically is my own personal health, my health and like the health of like close family members. So for undergrad, I actually got my bachelor's degree in chemistry, and the goal then was to go to medical school. Because doctor, lawyer, engineer, or embarrassment to the family. So I said, okay, let me go to medical school. And then chemistry is something that I was good at in secondary school. I liked organic chemistry. So I decided, let me do this for my bachelor's degree. And halfway through my degree, I was like, okay, I can complete this and I'm enjoying this. Like, this is cool. But what I'm actually interested in is like closer to the patient, closer to the individual who's being affected by like health issues, because I got my undergraduate degree in a very small town with not a lot of access to like good healthcare or good life practices. And that got me more interested in the biological side of things. After that, when I was applying to grad school, I actually applied again to a chemistry program, but to a lab specifically that was doing biochemistry, focused on like harmful metabolites, because at this point I decided that I really, really wanted like what I was studying to, even if it wasn't going to make an immediate impact, to make an impact long term, or contribute to making an impact long term. I was there for like a year and a half, and then I realized like, no, this is not close enough to the patients for me. I want to be closer. And that was also when I'd been here for maybe like 6 years, and I was eating a lot of sugar because I have a sweet tooth. So I started being worried about my hemoglobin A1C, and just got interested in diabetes and diabetes information and metabolic health overall. And when I was transferring programs, I looked at labs, and there was one particular lab that was studying that. And that's where I ended up. Yeah. Essentially, I think what really inspires my career and my passions and my personal journey is the knowledge that even if what I'm doing today doesn't make like a huge impact on people, I'm like contributing like little things. And I also really wanted to do research that I could like see the data in like my mouse model or in my cells and be like, this is how I'm going to apply this in my own life, right? So if I'm feeding my mice a Western diet, and then I feed them a Western diet with fiber, and I see the ones with fiber are doing better, then I go to the store and I buy food that has lots of fiber. I like that like immediate impact. That's kind of what's keeping me here.
Oh, that's so amazing. I really like the fact that you mentioned about the immediate impact, and that whether what you're doing right now, whether it's an immediate impact or not, but you know that it's something you enjoy doing. It just reminded me of the recent Nobel Prize winners, because I heard about like in the one in medicine, Kariko, she had been working, and Wiseman, they've been working on mRNA development for a long time before COVID came, and then their research was very pivotal in developing the vaccine. So I think that's very great. And then I'll go to Richard.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, so basically I attended veterinary school in Nigeria, University of Ibadan, and actually during my clinical years in vet school, that was when I figured out, oh no, I don't think I want to practice as a vet. So that was like a bummer for me. And then I developed interest after taking classes in virology, immunology. Then I developed interest in research. And in addition, I was able to like surround myself with mentors who were like really well grounded in biomedical research. And my transition into research in vet school was made possible by these mentors, and they allowed me to serve as a research assistant under their supervision, even while in vet school. And I also went on internships, which further solidified my research interest. And my advice for undergraduate students basically interested in research is actually to find what you're passionate about before reaching your final year in college or wherever you are. And you should plan around how you can achieve that milestone. Because what was really helpful for me was starting early. Like I was able to like figure out, because vet school is 6 years in Nigeria, and during my 4th year, that was when I figured out what I really wanted to do. And then I started. So you need to figure out what you want to do. How will you do it? How like create a balance with your academics as you pursue your interest, and have like solid mentors, because that is like the most important part of the journey. Like you really need good, genuine mentors, and you should seek advice routinely. I was always disturbing people, asking questions, and you should always stay proactive. What other thing? You should also try to like look for international, local opportunities and apply, even if you think you are underqualified. Like if you think you are not qualified for certain positions, you should try your best to like apply. And one key driving force for me is based on going back to what Kende just said. So I'm doing research on vaccine development right now for viruses with pandemic potential. And sometimes I have this imposter syndrome, like, oh, I don't really think, oh, my work is good enough. I don't really think, oh, this is really impactful. But then sometimes I'm like, well, I'm a trainee. So what I'm doing right now might not win me like a Nobel Prize or might not be impactful right now. But in the next 10 years, my findings might have some form of meaning in the nearest future. So let me just keep going. So that's like a keep driving force for me. Like I'm not doing this just like get accolades or something. My work might not be really important right now, but in the nearest future, I believe whatever I'm doing right now will make an impact. So that's like a key driving force for me, like just keep going, keep going, keep going. And another thing I want to say is networking. Networking is really important. Like everything takes a village. Like for instance, if you're a PI, like if you're a professor, you have a lab to yourself. When you publish papers, you can't take glory all to yourself. Like it takes a village. It's like a communal work, like takes a lot of people to like. So just look at that in terms of like pursuing your dreams too. Like you need people to help you. You can't achieve whatever you want to achieve all by yourself. You need to network with the right people and ask questions. So that's just my little token for now.
Thank you so much, Richard. You really spoke on a lot, on what's really inspired you towards your career. And I think two things that stood out to me is the importance of mentors, and I think I'm also a living testimony to that. And in addition to that, you also talked about the fact that what you're doing right now may not look significant, but as you go on, then you realize how significant it is. And I think it's also important, and that is why we are also doing this science communication webinar, because I've seen a lot of people, I've talked to some people who feel like whatever they are doing right now, it's not significant compared to the global stage, even though it may feel like that. But whatever you're doing, you put your work out there, it will definitely speak for you at the end of the day and give you opportunities. And the availability of mentors and would actually let you know things that are not within your circle and things that you can plug into. So thank you for that. And then lastly, I'll go to TLC for a contribution.
Hi. Okay. Hi, I'm Oluwatoyosi. I also go by Lisa. And thank you all for like having this platform. It's really nice, and thanks for inviting me. So I am from a small town in Nigeria, Ekiti State. I'm from Ado Ekiti, and if you're familiar with Ekiti, you know it's a very small place on the map. And I went to school here. I grew up here. All my life was here. My parents are from here. So you tend to see the same cycle of people growing up, and the kind of circle you grew up around kind of influence the kind of thing you want to like be in the future. So growing up, my own idea of what a scientist should be is like, you have to be white, you have to be a man, and you have to be old. Basically, those are the three things I had in my head. And these were all influenced by the kind of movies I was exposed to growing up. And the kind of environment that tells me like, okay, for you to be successful in life, you have to be a medical doctor. For you to be successful in life, you have to be an engineer, or you have to be a lawyer. So this is like what I grew up. I never knew I was going to be here today, like being a scientist or like doing science and all. So having that kind of upbringing, I felt, okay, the only path for me in life is to go into medical field, because that's the only way you can succeed in life, basically. But the realization, the ugly truth of it all is like, I can't even stand seeing blood. And I freak out when I see blood. So I knew within me that I'm going to be a terrible doctor. But I don't have to convince my Nigerian parent that this is not what I want to do with my life. So my parents were really adamant about me staying back in the medical field. But then I went to Federal University here. I was supposed to go to EXU, but then some things happened. And I'm like, okay, I want to go into biotechnology, because apparently then you just tend to listen to people around you, really. And these people around you are like, okay, maybe you should do biotechnology. I think it's a very nice field, and you can do cancer biology along the way. And they kind of pitched these ideas to my parents. And okay, I ended up in biotechnology for the University of, yeah. And interestingly, my school had this kind of break, like it's either you're doing plant science and biotechnology or animal science and biotechnology. And of course, I was going to choose the plant side because I didn't want to do anything with blood. And if I'm doing animal, it's going to expose me to that. So that's how I ended up doing plant science and biotechnology. I wasn't planning to do this at first, but just I think the opportunity I got at that point just brought me into it. And after my first year, my parents wanted me to like write JAMB and like go for medicine again. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I like this and I want to stay back here. So that's how I found myself in plant science. But at that point, I felt I didn't really still know what I wanted to do with my future, because apparently my uncle thinks like there is no path in this. Like there is nothing in your future if you're going to stay back in plant. You can't achieve anything in life if you're being a plant scientist. You basically an herbalist. That's what he said then. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do with my life? And I was supporting to go for this conference then when I was in undergrad. And I kind of got into networking with people, and they started talking to me about you're doing plant science and you're really doing very well in this. You really enjoy doing this. Then I went for my IT industrial training at NABDA in Abuja, National Biotechnology Development Agency. And I saw young people being a doctor, like only doctors I've seen in my life, they're all very old men. And now you have a PhD and you're this young, really? Is that a thing? I didn't know that. I think like seeing those people kind of inspired that in me, like, okay, I see myself doing this. I really want to be like this person. Like, and she was like, yeah, you can do it. You can apply for a master's and go for a PhD if you really want to do research and if you're interested in this. I'm like, yes, now that's what I want to do. I think I was in my third year of undergrad then. And I think that conversation kind of opened this gap for me to like start exploring other opportunity out there. And I think that's also how I got to know about fellowship, applying for fellowship, applying to China, and then for my master's, and then now I'm here. So I think one advice I would give is like, follow your mind. Whatever makes you, don't let your, I know African parents, they can push you to do something that makes them happy, but whatever you derive joy in doing, like whatever course you think, if I study, then this makes me happy. Like if you wake me in the middle of the night to defend this thing I'm doing, I'm going to wake up and do it with all my mind, like with passion. I think that's what you should do. Like whatever makes you happy, go for it. If medical field makes you happy, that is it. If being a taxonomist is a thing that gives you passion, do it. Don't let anybody like look down on your dream or like tell you, no, if you do this, you're not going to succeed in life. Or if I do this, you're going to be nobody in life. Or literally do something that makes you happy. And at the same time, network. Like you don't know who is who and who has the right information to give you. And talking to people, asking them, don't be intimidated by how big they are or their social status. Like if you're in with them, if you're in a room with them, ask them questions, really. Don't let their title intimidate you to like ask them questions, because you don't know who they are or how they can be beneficial to you, or what information they can give you that's going to be very beneficial for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so great. And I think I'll just piggyback from what she said to go ask the next question, because you really mentioned about the misconceptions about studying science, and like everybody wants to do want to be a medical doctor or a lawyer or engineer or be an engineer. But a lot of people do not know that there are untapped resources, untapped wealth in doing research, and there are a lot of opportunities if taken seriously. And based on the fact that you talked about misconception, I will just go to the next question, which is also about misconceptions in science. And I'm just going to ask, I will start from you, Joyosi, again. What views and from whom have you encountered what views and from whom have you encountered subtle misconception or direct misconception? I think you mentioned someone before, but you can also talk about that a little. And how would you say science communication has helped you to create a more productive and a supportive research environment?
Yeah, I think I've gotten quite a lot. From my direct family, I think my mom has been so supportive about my decision to like go into plant science, because I told her, I said, you know what, I will still be a doctor technically when I'm done. So you're still going to be a doctor's mom, so it's still allowed. Because I know I feel like she's just like really into the idea of like, oh, I'm a doctor's mom. I think that was what she was like really fussy about. But I think my extended family, my uncles, my auntie, and these are like people that don't really have this opportunity to like explore other, like outside high school or training college during the time. They don't really do that. So I feel like the knowledge gap, they didn't really know much about being a PhD or doing science or doing plant science. So I remember very well, one of them told me like, oh, he said it in Yoruba, but I'm going to like translate it. So he said, Toyosi, show me later. That's what he said. That what basically like this course you do, it's not going to sell. You can't make it in life with this. Like it's not going, like the only other option I have for you is like find a medical doctor and marry a medical doctor. That's the only way you can succeed in life. That is what he said. And I'm like, I'm going to be a doctor. Okay. I literally had to like tell him over and over again, like, there are so many career opportunities ahead of me. I can decide to be a professor today. Like, what do you think about that? You should say that your niece is a professor in one big school like that. Like, but well, no, you still need to. So I think that is like the most one that is like very, very close to me, like family-wise, and then I need to like actually explain to him, like being a scientist, see what happened with COVID. Who are the people that discovered the vaccine? You think it's the doctors that are in treating patients? No, science. This is a year work of scientists. So when this current Nobel Prize came in, I had to like share. I had to share it with him. Like, you see this person? She's from my school. She's a scientist. She did this. She's not a medical doctor. And see her now. This is what she did. She's a scientist, and this is a contribution to this. So I had to like explain to her, talk about Mendel, talk about its experiment, and how we like. Now you go to your farm, you see this big thing, you see the small one, or this tree. It's the scientists that did all this. So I actually had to like kind of school him to like let him understand, like, okay, I'm not like in a wrong direction in life. Like, this is what I derive my passion from, and this is what I enjoy. And this doesn't mean I don't have anything I can do after school. I've been spending years in school. There's so many countless opportunity out there for me that I can decide to like go into. If I don't want to go into like the traditional path, being in academia, there are numerous opportunities out there after PhD. And and I think other people also thinking like, okay, you being a woman and you wanted to do a PhD, like it's you being too ambitious for a girl. I've been there. These are even people that I felt should even support my dream of like wanting to do a PhD. This was during my undergrad, like some lecturers in my school, and like telling me like, you want to do a PhD? I thought they were going to advise me when they asked me like, so 2 years, what's your plan after undergrad? I'm like, oh, I'm going to do my master's. I'm going to do my PhD. This is because with all the enthusiasm after talking to like the person I met during the conference. And they're like, PhD? And they just laughed and they're like, oh, you've been too ambitious for a girl. You should just think of like maybe doing a master's and get married and then get a job in the school or something. That's what you should do with your life. So I feel like these are even people that talk you down when you feel like you want to achieve something. These people can even be in your close circle, not necessarily only your family, even your teachers, your lecturers in school even do this. So I feel like now when apparently when I got my PhD offer to come to Penn, and one of my professors in my undergrad, who I'm still like very good communication with, actually kind of like told them in their group chat, like, oh, you all remember this lady? Now she's going to Penn. She's going to an Ivy League. And apparently my school published an article about that, which I found out later. I'm like, you see, these are the same people that told you you're too ambitious for a girl. And now they're the ones supporting and like cheering you on and like supporting your dream. So yeah, I feel like some people just don't know, and you just need to educate them and let them see like, yeah, you can do this.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think that's why this science communication hub or webinar is here, just like to address this misconception and just to encourage people, just in case they're facing things like this, to let them know that it's not the end of the world. There's actually a lot of opportunities out there, and there are support resources to help you. And I will just go to Chioma to also answer this question.
Thank you again, Kaylee. I want to agree with everything Toyosi said. 100%. Very similar experience. I'd say one big overt misconception against my field in general is that once you enter, you have to go into academia. That's the biggest thing that I've gotten over and over and over again. Is like, oh, so you're going to be a professor? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be. So you're going to be a professor? No, I don't want to be. But you're not going to get a job. And I'm like, no, yes, I will. Because the biggest misconception I would say about being, or at least starting your research career in academic research, is that there is nowhere else to go. And I think that's why I like being part of organizations like the National Science Policy Network, or just even other international organizations that really expose you to lots of people who have gotten this degree that we're pursuing and who have taken it in so many different directions. Because from a PhD in the biomedical field or in any scientific field, really, you are not only building your you're not only building your knowledge base about your specific research topic, you're building so many other skills, including like soft skills, like the ability to communicate well with other people on a team because you're working in a research lab. You are building the ability to manage projects because you do have a research project, and you have to make executive decisions about like, oh, this is when I'm going to do this experiment. This is how I'm going to run it. These are the reasons that I'm going to take into account and do this. And those skills are translational into almost any aspect of like industry. And if you think about many high-powered industry, right, they need people who have very specialized knowledge about what they're doing, either to give them advice on a particular thing or to help them if that field is what the company is profiting from. All right, and who better to do that than somebody who has spent so much of their lifetime studying this? So I'd say the biggest misconception just about academic research or starting your research career in academic research is that there's nowhere else to go. Because while that might have been the case 30, 40 years ago, it's definitely not the case now. And I'd say science communication has helped create a more productive or supportive research environment for me, because knowing how to do science communication like effectively allows me to talk to just about anybody that I meet. When they ask you, it's a very common question, oh, what do you do? And if you're somebody that likes to talk like me, initially I would just go into the whole spiel with all the scientific jargon and all the terms. And you can visibly see on somebody's face when they disconnect, when they're just like not listening anymore. But learning how to communicate as like a scientific communicator has really helped me to be able to have conversations with like family. So when my mom is like, what did you do at work today? I can tell her, oh, I gave this thing to this mouse so that it will act this way. Because I want to see this end result, right? Or I can tell, like I go on a date and a guy asks me, what do you do? I can say, oh, I work on this because I'm curious about this, and this is the end goal of my research lab. I think it is very, very important not to just know how to like interact with your science from a like scientific perspective. I think it's incredibly important to say like, how would I describe this to somebody that has no background? And it helps like bridge a giant disconnect, because a lot of the time, as people who are working in a very specialized field, it's easy to feel like, oh, like nobody really gets what I'm doing, or I can't really have conversations with people outside science. But that's not true. That's not true. You'd be surprised how easy it is to like communicate what you're actually doing with somebody once you know how to put it in terms that they are familiar with, or that a general audience is familiar with. So yeah, those are my answers. Overt misconceptions. The biggest one is that there's nowhere else to go from academia. Supportive research environments, just it helps. It helps in many ways.
Yeah, thank you for that. Honestly, I had that misconception at first when I started, because I did not want to go into academia at the end of the day. And I was like, okay. But then after surrounding myself with mentors and just watching other people do what they do, and I realized, well, there are many industrial roles. There are other opportunities. You can become a writer. There are other avenues to express your science or your experience in research. And before I go to research, I think because of them, I'm going to combine the next question with this one for Richard to answer, because I also wanted him to talk about what skills and resources have been impactful for you as a scientist, particularly you coming from UI and then now studying at Cornell University. So if you could just answer that, and also with this question, that would be so awesome. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So basically, I think personally, when I look back at my journey, I think the key things that were really important, that were really really helpful for me was I think self and or intrinsic motivation. I think that's what I'm going to use, because I've always been a self-driven person all my life. So I just kept on going, like even I like doing what people tell me not to do. I like doing, that's what I like doing. So if you tell me not to do something, that's what I'm going to do. So I always like trust my gut. So far I know what I'm chasing is the right thing. Like so far I know I'm on the right path. So I have like this self or intrinsic motivation. So because if I don't do this, nobody else is going to do it for me. So that's one of the that was one of my driving force. And also I'm going to talk about the resources I had that was really helpful. I think solid mentorship. So I already mentioned this earlier. So I had people to talk to when I want to make critical decisions, like, oh, I want to do this. What do you think about this? I want to do this. What do you think I can do differently? I'm thinking of doing this way. Is this right? Or do you have other suggestions? So I had like really, really solid mentorship. That was a very, very, oh my God, that was a very, very good resource for me. Getting to this point. And also networking, and also ability to work with people. That's a very key critical factor for me to like ability to work with people. I love working with people, and that propelled me to where I am today. And I would say lastly, hard work and consistency, because you have to do the work. You just have to like put in the work. That is, nobody's going to like, the world is already very, very competitive. Like everybody is extraordinarily good. So you just have to like put in the work and make it like stand out. Like you have to be consistent. You have to just keep going. And I studied in UI, and the most important lesson I learned throughout my stay in UI is being humble and having a good support system. I had really good friends, peers, and colleagues. Like the people in my circle, like all of them, like I have a friend in Canada, I have in South Africa, I have in the UK. Like I surrounded myself with people who share the same interests, just like me too, because tell me your friend and then I'm going to tell you who you are. That's like the word. So I was like in the right environment, I was in the right place. That was one key thing that was really helpful for me in UI. I was really going home. I was always in school, and because I know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to achieve. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now.
All right, thank you very much. I think two things actually that stood out to me. Again, you still talked about the power of mentorship because that cannot be overemphasized. And that's why I'm happy that we are doing this right now. And I believe that even subsequent meetings like this would go a long way to help people to network as well and to make them utilize the resources they have or understand how valuable whatever they're doing right now is. And then I will go to Lisa to also answer this question, like what skills and resources have really been impactful to you as a scientist. You mentioned that you went from, you studied at 4A and then you went to China for your master's. Like between the transition, what skills and resources were really impactful for you at that moment? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I think one thing is public speaking. Really, it's really good because as I've said, like being able to ask questions and talk to people wherever you meet them, not being shy or feel intimidated to actually like walk up to people and talk to them. It's actually very, very, very important. Another thing I would say is that during my undergrad, my thesis supervisor really gave me this opportunity to like explore and like do whatever research I want. So because I did my industrial training with NABDA in Abuja, I decided to like, get resources from them because of the like good relationship I had with them during my IT. So I decided to like get my seed resources from them, import them, and then do that. And then I did my research and I felt like, this work is actually novel because nobody has actually done anything like this in a way. And then I pitched the idea to her, like, you know what, like to my professor, how about we publish this paper? Like, what do I need to do to like publish this? And if you're familiar with education in Nigeria, you know that that's not something very common for your undergrad thesis for you to just decide to walk up to your professor, because oftentimes we think they are not like quality enough to like actually like push it out there. And she was like, you know what? That is a good idea. And they would just start doing like the necessary analysis that is necessary. And to put things short, the paper was published in one word, which is like not something usual. I think it's up to now, she still like talks about me and be like, you are my favorite student. Nobody has ever done what you did. So I feel like being able to like actually not being intimidated, because she's this person that everybody's so scared of and nobody wants to work with, and don't feel so intimidated about her, and like actually walk up to her and like tell her, okay, this is what I want and this is what I want to do. And still on resources, using the internet wisely. Like there's so much information out there. I tell you, like when I was talking to somebody about the idea of like doing a master's and PhD, and she was like, you know what, I think there's this fellowship that happens in China for like Belt and Road and blah blah blah, maybe you should apply for that. And then before I knew it, she just sent me like a flyer that she saw on Facebook, and she sent it to me. And then I saw Facebook and I saw the information. They were like, okay, I'm still in my final year, my first semester, and I don't even have my complete transcript yet. I don't have a certificate yet. I don't think I can apply for this. But you know what I did? I decided to write an email to the person's email attached to the flyer. And I just wrote the email, hi, my name is this, I'm from this, and I'm currently here, but I'm not sure if I qualify to apply for this because I'm technically not done with my undergrad. Can I apply? Honestly, if I didn't have, I wouldn't know it's possible to apply. And this lady just replied me, she said, oh yeah, you can apply as long as your transcript and your certificates will be ready on or before this date. Then you can apply. That was all I needed to actually apply for the event. And you see this long list of requirements that everybody has been looking at. I felt people probably saw that and like, oh, I didn't make this, I need to stop. But like, if you don't take that extra step to actually reach out to them, I guess you won't know. So when I got to China and I started talking to my colleague, and I found out that, I think my own admission is a very unique one because nobody did what I did. Like this shortcut of like coming to a master's without even submitting your full transcript and without even submitting I just like a short transcript of like my first year to my third year. They didn't have any record of anything going on in my fourth year. They have a certificate to prove my knowledge then. The paper we had then was not even done yet, and yet I was able to like get into this program. But like being able to like talk and ask questions, basically. Don't just assume things, like always ask questions, always ask. If you're not clear about something, ask. If you want to know something, ask. Don't feel intimidated, ask questions. And put yourself in the spot. Put yourself on the spot, basically. Like when you need something, always put yourself out there and ask. It's the opportunity is not going to walk into your room and meet you in your bed. You need to go out there and like actually put yourself out there and ask people and ask for those opportunities and knock on those doors. And can I be part of this table? I want to be here. That's how it's done. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. And I think that has really, really been very, very helpful for me to navigate my life in China and now to a PhD right now.
Sorry, Kende, before you chip in. So I just want to follow up on what Lisa just said. So I also applied to Cornell when I was in my 5th year in vet school. Like I applied for, like the transcript I used was just basically my 1st year to my 5th year. They had no record of my 6th year grades or something. So, and I only applied to Cornell. Like that was the only school I applied to for PhD. So just put yourself out there. Forget about whatever anybody tells you. Just put yourself out there. Apply, send those emails, ask questions. I sent those emails. They were like, oh yeah, you can apply as long as you can provide your final transcript if you get an offer. And I did that. So just put yourself out there and there's no limit.
I thank you for mentioning that, honestly, because there's this misconception of, oh, I need to have everything ready before I proceed. But communication would go a long way to make you see that, oh, you can really not really have to have everything set in stone first. You can start the journey, and while you're on the journey, then you can begin to supply what you need, what is needed for the next step. And I think that's very good that you both mentioned this, because this would be an inspiration for someone else that like, okay, I'm not done. Maybe I have to finish my undergrad first before I start to apply to schools and things like that. And then I will also go to Chioma for any contribution.
Honestly, I feel like the other panelists have said everything. Because it is 100% true that the biggest skill that you can have in this field, especially as somebody who is trying to drive your career yourself and like be intentional about where you want to go, is that sort of like fearlessness. Because last, nobody will beat you. Nobody's going, like, that's honestly, you have to be able to say, like, this is an opportunity that I think will help me go where I want to go. Do I know if I'm fully qualified? No, but the least I can do is ask, right? Because when you ask these questions, you find out that you're a lot more qualified for what the people are looking for than you think. As far as resources, I definitely think mentorship, good mentorship, because having somebody that has been through like good mentorship and good like lateral connections, so like peer connections, because having somebody that has been through what you're to go through or has like a similar experience or is able to give you feedback on like, oh, I tried it this way based on your situation. Maybe it's a work out this way. Having that has been like essential for me. So I'd say wherever you are like situated, to find people who are in that same like phase of life or going for that same thing and like really connect with them. And a connection doesn't have to be like, oh, I see you in person. A connection could literally be a cold email or a cold message on LinkedIn, like, hey, I see that you've done this or you are doing this. Do you have time to like chat with me for 20 minutes about how you got there, how you achieved this? Can I tell you where I am and you just tell me your opinion on like what you would do next, you in my situation? That doesn't mean you have to take everybody's advice. It's best to like listen and then gather like what you want to do based on who you are and how you handle things, right? But honestly, biggest skill to develop the ability to ask, and like the ability to ask fearlessly, because there's so much out there that a lot of us like don't know because we're waiting to have all the degrees and all the letters and all the qualifications. Biggest resource, definitely community. Constructive community.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. This is so amazing, because that's one aim of what we are doing right here. Also, just like to bring that up where we let people know about the resources that are available, the opportunities, and how you can start with what you have already. And I will go to the next question. Because of time, we would just go through this. Maybe I'll just like 1 to 2 minutes to answer this question because of time, so we can give ample time to the audience to ask any question that they have. So when you think about scientific research in Nigeria in general, what is one hope that you have? So, I'll start with Richard.
Thank you for asking that.
Yes.
I honestly think we have what it takes to build research in Nigeria. So when I started as an undergrad research assistant, I started in biochemistry, no, anatomy. And then I was like, oh no, I don't think I want this. Then I was like, okay, biochemistry. And I started doing cancer biology. Then I was like, this is very basic. Like we're not really doing like, when I compare what we're doing to what I read, I mean, papers published in Nature, Journal of Immunology or something, I'm like, this is not land breaking or something. It's not groundbreaking or something. But then I came to the realization that actually we are doing our best because we are trying with the little resources we have. It is really, really hard. Imagine now, okay, now I'm in the US, you have everything. You have everything you need. You have the resources you can get any reagents you want. You have light, you have funding, you have everything. But then every time I think about Nigeria, I'm like, actually researchers in Nigeria, they are doing their best as well because they have to, the orders they have to pass through before they even like publish papers. So I think it is actually possible to do impactful research in Nigeria. We just need the right mentality and profound support from the government. If you travel a lot, you actually figure out that the best brains all over the world are Nigerians. Like if you get to this place, you see a Nigerian there. If you get to this place, you see a Nigerian there. So we just need the right mentality and profound support from the government to actually achieve this. I want to set an example. The African Center of Excellence for Genomics of Infectious Disease, ASGID, at Redeemers University. Professor Happy is my mentor. Oh my God. You need to pay a visit to that facility. That place is funded by the World Bank. They have millions of dollars in funding. And that man is doing a lot of amazing stuff in Nigeria. So all we need is the right mindset and funding and people who are really passionate about research. We can actually do amazing things from Nigeria.
Okay, yes, thank you so much. That's very important because I like that you mentioned ASGID because one of the laboratories in my school year is actually partnering with ASGID. And when I got to find out, I was so surprised seeing the amazing work they do. And you mentioned something. You said that we have what it takes. I mean, we are trying our best right now with what we have, and it's so amazing. And I can attest to that, particularly with what IBRT is doing right now. It's so amazing. Despite the resources, we are really doing a lot, and it's so amazing knowing that even with these resources, you can still go places with this, and you can still invest heavily in research. It's so amazing, and thank you for mentioning that. Before I go to the next question, if I go to Lisa, I also add that I also had one part to the question is also that what do you think technology, what role do you think technology has also played for you in doing research and in advancing in your field? Thank you. So I'll just go to Teyosi also.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot. I think a lot because most of the information I have, if not for the internet,
yes,
I won't get many of them. Like I feel there's just so many things you can do on the internet, especially when I was in China, I found myself in a Chinese lab. Of course, I'll be in a Chinese lab. But like when I applied to the program, it said, oh, your courses are going to be taught in English. I kind of assumed like everything is going to be in English because of course I was going to Beijing, which is the capital. So I felt like, oh, okay, people are going to speak English here. But my classes were in English. But then when I started my lab work, everything was in Chinese. And now I need to figure out how to navigate life in a Chinese lab. Everything, most of the analysis I had to do, I needed to like learn through YouTube how to do it. Because the people that were around me that could teach me, they'll teach me in Chinese, and my Chinese is not strong enough to handle science in Chinese or normal communication. Okay. So I feel like those like learning on the internet, sometimes there's so many webinars I see online. They'll just put it there on Twitter. Sometimes you just say, oh, ASPB, American Society of Plant Science, they're having this webinar on this. And I knew this, I needed this to like learn this skill for my research. And then I just joined them and participate in such webinar. And many of the time I also started networking with some of those professors there that I meet during that those kind of small event they are for like plant biologists in like different countries. So I started meeting up with these people sometimes. Oh, I really like your research. I think your research kind of aligned with what I'm doing. And before I knew it, many of them were like, oh, let's talk after. And then I'm like, send me an email after. This is my email. After this event, send me an email. And from there, I started meeting these professors one after the other. And before I know it, people I read about are actually people I'm actually talking to. These are people whose paper I've been reading about. And now they're not like the people I'm like talking to, and people that are willing to have me in their labs, like for a PhD. Like, you know what? When you finish your master's, if you're interested in a PhD, you're welcome to like apply to my lab. Just from there. So I think it just started from like digging deep on Twitter, like looking for the right people to follow, and then the right, like all this community, you always see them on Twitter, like botany, you see ASPB, you see black in this, black in that. Like there's so many of this small kind of group out there. So I think like being part of them and also like networking through that, it does a lot. I met my mentor through that. I met her I met her when I posted something on LinkedIn about my part of like science, about somebody been telling me like, oh, you're too ambitious to be a scientist. And she just reached out to me and she was like, you know what? You're not ambitious enough to be a scientist. And that is how we became close. And then she's been my mentor since then. Like this was like my second year in China. And she's always constant checking up on me. I haven't even met her in person up to now. All we do is like Zoom, FaceTime. That's all. So I'm like, okay, I really need to like see you in person. And like, just like that, I feel like she's a scientist. She did a postdoc at University of Michigan. And after that, she just left, and now she's doing like policy work now in DC. So like, this is how you meet people. This is how you connect with people. And they're very, very helpful. And like, if you're willing, right? If you're willing to do the work, because you can't just sit back and expect them to like work on your CV for you, to do your SOP for you. You need to actually do it yourself. And they ask them, okay, do you mind helping me go through this? Basically. So they also want to see the effort at the same time. They don't just want to like, they'll help me. So I think technology has really, really done a lot. Especially there wasn't ChatGPT then to ask questions about to figure things out then. So it was YouTube I was using and Twitter to like figure out a lot of things there.
All right, thank you so much. It's so amazing to see how technology has really played a role for you in advancing your journey as a scientist. It's so funny how that you literally had to learn how to do some scientific techniques because of the language barrier. Technology is very great. And for the last question, I would just want Chioma to also add a contribution to this question, and then I think we'll end the panel discussion and then questions.
Okay, sounds good. My contribution will be very, very short. I think technology and networking have essentially been my entire journey as a scientist. Because I started my PhD in 2019 in my first research lab, my first field. And I think I started 2019 August, and by 2020 January, everything was shutting down. And there was no way for me to interact with people in person. So I had to get very good, very fast at just at sending people messages on LinkedIn saying like, oh, this is a Zoom call for this thing. I'm not necessarily in this field, but like, can I get an invite? Is it okay if I'm here? And then like sending people messages afterwards, like, I like what you said. I like what you're doing. Can we talk? And that's really how you get your foot in the door a lot of places. And I'd say being able to use technology, not just like for networking, but also to help with other aspects of being a scientist, like being able to use available resources for planning your experiments, knowing how to use like different websites to help you really highlight what you want to know about papers and digest that information. Being able to use other websites to help you get maybe a quicker understanding of like a paper that's not in your research field. It's a huge, huge benefit to know what resources, what technological resources are available to you and like use them well. Because at the end of the day, like all of us we're running this PhD race together, right? But most like giving yourself an advantage doesn't necessarily mean you know more about your science. It just means you know how to use your science better, or you know how to use resources for your science better. So I'd say definitely get familiar, find out like what is available to me that can help make this research thing easier and learn how to use it because it's day and night, very much day and night. And network as if somebody's chasing you. Because at the end of the day, it really is who you know. My current mentor, similar to Lisa, I messaged on LinkedIn and she was like, let's have a Zoom meeting. And like I didn't know how to set up my CV. She sent me her CV to use as a template. I didn't know like who to reach out to at certain companies. And she's like, oh, I know this person that works at that person's office. Let me send you their email. They send a connection email. And a connection email can literally be the difference between like you having to take a job you don't want and you getting the job of your dreams.
Thank you so much for that. Honestly, I like the fact that you also mentioned that the advantages of technology beyond networking, also like how it applies to you personally as a scientist in organizing and in also planning experiments. That's very great. Thank you so much once again to our panelists for this wonderful discussion. It's been an insightful one and definitely an inspiring one. And we'll go ahead to see if anyone has any question. We have about 10 minutes for that. And if anybody has any question, you can just type it in the chat box or raise your hand and we'll definitely address it. Okay, so while we wait for any other question, I think I'll just ask one more bonus question. If you could share some of the doors in maybe 1 or 2 minutes, some of the doors your PhD has opened for you and your aspiration also after your PhD. Yeah, I think I'll go with Lisa first.
Okay. Some of the doors my PhD has opened for me. Wow. I feel now I'm in my second year of my PhD. I am not even near done with my PhD. Yet I can say that I have 2 offers of a postdoc, which is kind of wild because these are like people I met during, these are professors that I met during my PhD application phase. And people I've also been talking to like during, even before the application, people I met on like different conferences during COVID when there are so many conferences online. And they're already like, you know what, you should apply to my lab. And then I chose Penn. I didn't choose, they're like, you know what, I understand you didn't choose my lab, but if you want to do a postdoc, my lab is open for you to do a postdoc. Just like that. So I feel like even if I decide to like do a postdoc after my PhD, this is like opportunities that are kind of waiting already. And also my PhD has also opened this other door of like be able to like actually tell people that they can, because I feel I'm a living example of it. So like telling guests in my own, like that grew up in the same setting that I grew up in, being able to tell them that, okay, don't let anybody tell you you can't. You can. You can always do it. It is possible. Everything is possible if you set your mind to it. And also career-wise, I feel like now there's so many, my school has so many career opportunity kind of thing going on every time. And they just, I felt like I could only be in academia, but now like there's just so many things I could do with a PhD in plant science. Remember the same plant science that someone told me like, it's not gonna work. There is nothing you can do with it. So I feel like the doors are just so, it's endless. Like there's so many opportunities out there really. Is from meeting people whose paper I read about, people that invent protocol that has been used for years in plant science, and actually being in the same room with them and talking science with them. Like those things are like things I didn't even see coming. And I'm like, oh, do you know this protocol for like extracting DNA in this plant? This is the person that invented this years ago. And now this person is out there teaching me a class. This textbook that you read, this is the same person teaching you a class. I'm like, so like, it's just so mesmerizing, like being in that same spot with these people and actually talking to these people or working in their lab during my rotations. So this kind of making like, I never knew this was going to happen. And now it's here. If I didn't do a PhD, if I didn't decide to go this far, probably I would never have even gotten the opportunity to like be in the same space with these people. So like your science heroes are now people like you see, people you can walk into their office anytime and like talk to them and chat about science with them anytime you want. So yeah. I don't know. I think I should stop talking. There's so many things I could say about this. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing how PhD has opened the door for you, and congrats on your postdoc, even your 2 postdoc of Ocean, even. So I think we have 2 questions, we have 3 questions now, and I think every panelist will just take 1 question each. The first question is, if you have any thought about the challenges of navigating new cultural contexts while doing science abroad, what do you find most challenging in terms of cultural values, or probably the culture in transitioning from where you were to a new environment? I don't know which of the panelists want to answer that.
I can try.
Okay.
So basically, I will answer the first question. So when I moved to the US, and the first few months, they were really, oh my God, they were really rough. Not in terms of like funding or something, but I mean in terms of like building your community. You are just all by yourself. The only people you really interact with is people in your workplace. You just go to you go to school, and then you interact with people. You go back home, you go to church, and it's just, so it's really, really lonely. So what I'm trying to say is, if you move into a new country, like wherever you go to, maybe US, China, anywhere you go to, try to like you don't need a lot of people to be around you. You only need like maybe like 2 or 3 people. Like just find like 2 or 3 people you can easily connect with. And they don't have to be people from your background. That's one thing I've realized when I got here. Like I was looking for, I must meet Nigerians. I must be hanging out with Nigerians all the time. No, things don't work that way. This is a global, I mean, everybody from all over the world is here. Most of my closest friends actually right now, sorry to say, they are not even Nigerians. Like people that I really do stuff with, people I hang out with lately, they're not really Nigerians. So just find people you can connect with easily. Like it can be just 1 or 2 people, and then try to like build that community. You need people, you need that community. That should be, apart from like coming here to focus on what you are here for, like your academics. Honestly, that is like the most important thing for me here. Like you need people. You need like 1 or 2 or 3 people that you need to like, build a community with. That will keep you going, because at times you are down, like you can't, and you need strength to keep going. So that's just what I have to say about that. And also the food, in terms of like food or feeding or something, just when you move to a new country, start with what you have. And with time, you're just going to adjust. We are all humans. We have this skill to like adapt to any situation. So, and don't be hard on yourself.
Kendi, do you mind if I add to that? Like, I agree with what Richard has said, but like, I think this is like when you're moving to a place where English is the official language and you're coming from a background that English is also the language you speak. For me, it was another crazy story. Okay. I was literally going from speaking English to not even knowing how to say hi in Chinese. And then I'm there at the airport. I don't know whatever I had in my head at that point, thinking, oh, everybody should speak Chinese. Everybody should speak English rather. Like it's the capital city, everybody should speak. And then the first bomb was like, oh, okay, I need to even know how to introduce myself. people can't pronounce my long name. I need to tell them about myself and where I'm going at the airport. I don't even know how to say my school name. I was literally trying to show them because my offer letter was in English. And then I realized they don't understand that. So it was a crazy story trying to like explain to people. So I feel like if you don't find yourself in an English speaking country, the language is going to be a very huge challenge for you. It's going to be like the first that hits you in your face, like, okay, how do I communicate here? But it's going to be difficult, but I'll tell you, it's doable. It's not the end of the world. So, of course, some schools will offer language classes and some schools won't. For my school, they offered a language class, not because my course was in Chinese, but because they want us to be able to communicate if we find ourselves out there in the street. So they made us take the 6 months Chinese class. So like practice as much as you can, go out, try to buy things, even if your language, the what you know is like not strong enough, be confident. Like I feel intimidated sometimes to actually speak because I feel I'm very bad. But practice, really practice a lot. That helps you. And as soon as you can talk to the local yourself, like no matter how bad it is, it makes things easier for you living in that place. Really, it's makes it easier for you to like buy things, to go out. You don't always have to go with your translator every time. And it's just kind of make things better for you. So if you find yourself in a place that it's not an English speaking country, basically like try as much as possible to like go to a language class if your school is not offering that. So like at least be able to understand the culture, because some things you might think it's accepted everywhere, then you realize it's not accepted where you are. Then you need to like navigate the cultural difference and be on the same ground.
All right, thank you so much for answering that question. And I think we have two more questions. Someone asked if there are other opportunities in PhD apart from working in industries and academia. Definitely there are. I think it also correlates with the next question, which talked about if there are career options that are focused on science communication for people that are not actively pursuing research as a career. And I know they exist, and I think Chima can go ahead to answer that.
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities in the PhD apart from working in industry or academia. So if you're somebody like me who does not think that they are best utilized working at the bench, a couple of options that you have include being like a consultant. You can be a scientific consultant or a general consultant, and those are roles that have a lot of intersection with what you do as a PhD student, because you are getting data fast from the company, you're analyzing the data, you're proposing solutions based on the data. That's literally an entire PhD, right? Other things you can do include, for me, I'm looking at being a medical science liaison because I like the whole drug development process and I like pharmaceutical work. And you could go into working for any federal agency with the right authorization, because most federal agencies like the FDA, the NIH, the NSF, they need PhD level people to help them evaluate other PhD level people that they're either considering giving grants or other organizations that they want to fund, or help them evaluate information coming in from companies that they want to like authorize for various things. You could go into, let's see, what else is there? If there's any company basically that is doing specialized work in your area of research, and that company is going to have questions, right? So they might not want to have someone on staff full time, but you could easily be I think I've already said consultant, but what I'm trying to mention is something similar to consultancy, where like you go to one company, you work with them for a little time, give them your expertise, and then you move somewhere else. You could also go into science policy, because heaven knows that science, people making policy often don't know a lot about the science, and they need people that know a lot about the science to say you probably shouldn't make that rule because it's going to affect the world this way. You could go into, as for the person that's interested in science communication, there's so much opportunity to be a scientific communicator, and you could do this as a freelancer, just writing your own science communication posts. You could do this as part of an institution. So big universities, any university is going to need somebody that's telling the world, like, this is the science that's going on at our university. Somebody that's able to make it understandable for like everybody else. and companies need science writers. And you don't just need to be a writer, like writing for the company to the general audience. You could be a writer writing for like the company's scientific division, trying to make the information clear for the companies like hiring people or the companies like decision makers. So there are lots of opportunities as a science communicator if you don't want to pursue bench work, and just lots of opportunities overall. Oh, one that I forgot to mention that's really big, you go into patent creation. So lots of intellectual property, lots of new science going on. This new science needs to get commercialized, and there need to be scientists in that process that can say, oh, I understand this science, or I can teach myself this science, and I think that this is how to get this invention from here, from point A to point B. There's so many opportunities. One website that I use to kind of help me narrow down what I want to do is called my IDP, I think my individual development plan. And it kind of like, it's basically this really long questionnaire. It's very annoying, but you answer everything. And it's like based on what you like, what you think you can do, and how much money you want, because how much money you want is a factor. These are some careers that we think you could position yourself for. And then it helps you like set goals for getting from where you are to where you want to be. So yes, definitely lots of career options.
Thank you very much for that. I think we are almost out of time right now. And I hear you clearly, you talked about consultancy, medical liaison, even being freestyling as a medical writer personally or working with an institution, science policy. So there are very great options out there. And thank you once again to our panelists for this amazing session. Thank you for sharing your ideas and what has worked for you. And if just in case you want to contact, you want the participant to contact you, you can also leave either your email or your LinkedIn information, just in case anyone wants to connect and you are willing to also share that. And now we're just to encourage the audience, just in case you want to, like someone asked about the science communication, how you can play a role in science communication. Now there's a chance for you to do that. If you want to, you can feature as a writer on the NSPN site Byte blog, and the deadline is by December 31. All you have to do is just write a 200 to 600 word blog post on this event that you just attended, how it has inspired you or how it has impacted you, and also just talk about the role science communication plays in research and development at either the local or the states or the national level. Thank you once again for attending this webinar. We hope it has been very, very impactful for you. Very soon, an email will be sent for a post-survey feedback, and we would really love you to fill the form, and we will be getting back to everyone shortly about the next steps forward. And it's so great to have you here again. Thank you once again, Richard, Lisa, and Chioma. We really appreciate your time and really appreciate you coming here today. Also to the audience, we thank you so much for being here today, and feel free to ask any question you want. If you still want to connect, to ask more questions, to see how you can position yourself for some opportunities, we are available, and we look forward to talking with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.